Botage! Wow! You know, my street is normally pretty quiet, but not today. There's a social club across the street, and they rent out their space for parties, birthdays, weddings, anniversaries, and other events. And sometimes they play the music real loud. And if you don't like that kind of noise, well, best not to move to Latin America in general and Brazil in particular, because Latin Americans are exuberant, whether it's here in Brazil or in Mexico or most any other place. So if you don't like noise, better stay home. That music is driving me crazy. Time to go out for a walk. I've just left my apartment. The weather forecasts here are very odd. They're never accurate. Maybe that has something to do with living in the tropics. I don't know. Is it harder to forecast, to predict? But there is no rain in the forecast today, and yet, as you can see, it has been raining. It stopped now, but the streets are quite wet. So I will look at the weather forecast, but I don't always believe it or count on it. Botage! It's about 4:30 in the afternoon, the perfect time to go out walking in Salvador. The sun is going down, the temperatures are very nice. It's midwinter. It's not hot, it's not chilly, it's just right. I would say in the upper 70s. And it's a beautiful day today, and it's nice to be out. Tomorrow is payday. It's the first of the month, and I can pay all of my bills. Maybe I'm strange, but I like paying my bills. I like being able to pay them. This month, or the month of August and September, are still months that my debt load is higher than usual. Still have 2 more months to pay off for that ticket back to San Francisco a few months ago, and I'll be glad when I'm over that. And I've got to finish paying off a couple other things, and then starting in October, I'll be back to normal financially, and I can start saving again. And I'm hoping that in November I do not need to fly back to California to take care of some unfinished business. I'm hoping that I'm able to take care of that business online here in Brazil. We'll see. This neighborhood that I'm walking in, and that is my neighborhood, I believe is a safe neighborhood, as safe as can be in Salvador. I have been warned to be careful with my cell phone, or it could get snatched out of my hand, but I guess I just can't worry about that. And also I have a backup cell phone at home, just in case. So that fear is not going to prevent me from videotaping. Wouldn't it be nice if the weather was always like this year-round? Comfortable, warm, but with a nice breeze, not hot. Almost perfect, I'd say. But of course, no place is perfect year-round. I love Salvador year-round. I love it in the summer too. And the summer is when all the festivals happen. The most interesting festivals of the year, including Carnival. But it can get uncomfortably hot. As I've said before, maybe that's my only minor complaint. Yes, we're in Bahia, Brazil. I guess he was reminding me. And he made me lose my train of thought. Here is one of those billboards put up by the state government. It says, "Run for the hug, taking care of homeless people." And I don't know how well the state government or the federal government of Brazil takes care of homeless people, but I certainly see far fewer homeless people here in Salvador, which is a very poor city, than I do in the United States, where it seems like the streets are full of homeless people living in tents. And how is it that the richest country in the world, the United States, has so many homeless, visible homeless, and you see very few here in Salvador. I don't think the local population would tolerate it, for one thing, and also I don't know how long one would survive just putting out a tent on the sidewalk and living from handouts and a spare change from passersby. I don't think you'd survive very long. So people, even the most precarious situations, will find something to do, something to sell, even if it's a little bit of candy in a cardboard box. But you don't see much visible homelessness in Salvador. When I used to live in this neighborhood years ago, sadly, it was full of what are called saciseros, crack addicts. There was an epidemic of crack and people addicted to crack, and it could be quite unpleasant sometimes walking in this neighborhood. I don't know what they did, but they really cleaned it up. I'm afraid not in a very politically correct way, probably very heavy-handed, the police and the city and state government, but one is not confronted with numerous crack addicts. I remember one in particular used to follow me for blocks and blocks and blocks, and following me all the way almost to my front door, and I would, keep saying no, 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 and finally I would have to turn around and at least give him a couple of coins to get rid of him. And he was satisfied with just a couple of coins, 25, 30, equivalent of 25, 30 cents. Just, I guess, so he could get his next fix of pedra, stone. And that was one of the reasons, a small reason, but one of the many reasons why I left Salvador in 2011 and stayed out of Brazil for about 4 years. I just needed a break. And now one is not confronted by that. I mean, of course there are still a few, and there are other areas of the city where there are more, but somehow, some way, they've disappeared from this neighborhood. I think the government realized that they were chasing away foreign tourists and also locals. It was no longer such a desirable neighborhood as it had once been, but it's returned to its old glory days. You may have noticed I didn't go all the way down to the end of Porto. I decided to turn up a side street and avoid that last block, because it's that last block of Porto where inevitably I will run into somebody from my past who I don't want to see, who's going to annoy me, bother me, and hit me up for some money. Not a large amount, a few coins, maybe $2, maybe, maximum $4, but, I don't want that. I don't need that. So I avoided that last block, but that's okay. It's only one block. Oh, and another reason is that today is the day before payday. I don't have, all I have is a few coins myself. I'm fine. I've got plenty of food to eat at home, and I have everything I need. I don't need for a thing, but I do not have any spare change to give to anyone. So, best not to walk down that one block and be harassed for spare change. Back in California, I'd be borderline homeless myself with the rising costs, living expenses, rent, food. The prices when I was there a few months ago were just astronomical. But here in Bahia, Brazil, I live very, very comfortably on my modest Social Security income. Actually, what I earn puts me in the top 5% of earners in all of Brazil. Hard to believe, but true. So my Social Security check covers the rent on my one-bedroom apartment. It covers my utilities, light bill, cell phone bill, food, and everything else for the month, and leaves me with plenty left over for just day-to-day living expenses and some luxuries. As I mentioned, I've got a couple of months of higher than usual expenses, but normally it leaves me, after I paid off all my bills for the month, it leaves me enough for things like travel and putting money into savings and other little luxuries. But basically I have everything I need. I don't need anything. So I like to use my what resources I have on travel. My last trip, of course, was that trip to California a few months ago, but that was business related, so to speak, tying up loose ends in the United States, because I'm not going back ever again to live permanently, that is. The occasional visit, yes, but not to live. And I've been talking about a trip up to the Amazon ever since I got here 2.5 years ago. And I still haven't made it because something always pops up. My move from the little city I was living in back here to Salvador took up some of my savings. Making my new apartment here in Salvador complete. The apartment came furnished, but you know, furnished apartments have the basics, but they can seem rather bare and impersonal. So I've spent money personalizing my apartment, and so I need to rebuild my savings because I want to make that long talked about and postponed trip up to the Amazon, and that is going to be my next trip. Up to the city of Belém, then take a boat up the Amazon to the city of Manaus, and that will fulfill one of my dreams, is to see the Amazon. And now that I walked along the ocean front, I think I'm gonna walk about 5 blocks to my local shopping mall, shopping center, and have the sensation of being in the first world. And by the way, I'm very content not being in the so-called first world. I do get the New York Times here. I have cable TV. I get CNN, CNBC, the BBC, and lots of other news sources, directly or on YouTube. Shopping Bahia, that's where we're going. And what I see in the news from the United States is very disturbing and depressing. Constant violence, conflict. Of course, the presidential race is disturbing, especially the Republican side. I don't miss that at all. I don't mind catching up when I watch the news, but I'm glad I don't live in that anymore. Now we've just entered the shopping center. There are 4 floors, and so there's lots of places, there's lots of space to walk. It would take me I guess at least in half an hour, 45 minutes to just walk this shopping center. The air conditioning almost feels too cold at this time of the year. It's on, but certainly don't need it like in the summer. In the summer, it is a big relief coming in here, and I come in here once a day just for the air conditioning to cool down. That's the main reason I come in here, especially in the hotter months. There is a Starbucks. Can you believe it? You can't escape McDonald's and Starbucks and Burger King. They have all three in this shopping mall. In the food court, I have been known to get an occasional cup of coffee at Starbucks, although I am now boycotting them because of a political position that they took, a donation they made to a certain candidate, and I don't eat at McDonald's or Burger King, obviously, because I'm a vegetarian. Oh, and there's Subway, too, right in front of us. But the food court has a lot. Most of the offerings are just good Brazilian food, much healthier for you. And yes, there is ice skating at the shopping mall here in the middle of the tropics in Brazil. Not many ice skaters on the ice right now, but later it'll fill up. It's about 5 o'clock, I think, and people are just getting off work now. But shopping malls are places that people head to. Sometimes people head here as a refuge from the streets, and as I mentioned, for the climate-controlled environment. Oh, look at this little kiddie train coming our way. Should I climb aboard? No, I don't think so. The cute conductor just waved at us. Brazilians are very friendly. It's one of the things I love about here. The candies, I think I'll stay away from that. Very bad for me. So, I'm going to walk all 4 floors. I think I'm going to sign off now. I've had a lazy day today, except for this late afternoon walk. I've been in the house all day. Yesterday, I think I overextended myself a little. I had a 4-hour walk in the sun, 4 hours round trip from my apartment, and I loved it, but I think I overdid it just a little bit, and my feet hurt. So I'm going to make this short today. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you soon. Beijo. Oh, beijo, by the way, means kiss in Brazil, and it's a very common greeting and a way of signing off for Brazilians. Men say it, women say it, very normal. So beijo, ciao.